am thankful, grateful for all the things that made me who I am. I am. I am. I am joyful, peaceful, for all the present moments in I am, I am, I am, I am in this space, in this place. I am. I am. I am. In the here, in the now. I am. I am sunbeams, raindrops, for every single glory in I am, I am, I am. I am in you, in us, the universe connecting it. I am, I am, I am. I am. I am in this space, in this place. I am. I am. I am in the here, in the now. I am divinely created in the essence of love, within and without, below as above. I am. I am in this space, in this place. I am. I am peace and love and light. I am in the here, in the now. I am shining light. I am standing in love, I am.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. I'm talking about the difference that yesing your way through life can make to you. Do you remember the story of Robinson Crusoe? How he was shipwrecked? Well, he decided after a few days to assess what was going on with his life. And so he drew a line in the sand and he made two columns, one which called the bad and the other one was the good. So he started thinking about things. Yes, he was cast on a desert island, but he was still alive. He was apart from human society, but he wasn't starving. He only had the clothes on his back, but he was in a hot climate, didn't really need clothes. He didn't have any means of defense, but he didn't really see anything that he had to defend himself against. He had no one to talk to, but the ship was so near to the shore that he could get anything off it that he needed in order to stay alive. He became quite clever at creating new things that he needed. So he concluded that there wasn't any circumstance in the world that was so miserable that there wasn't something good in it, something that you could say yes to say yes to the circumstances. So what does it mean to say yes to life? I've been thinking about it, and there's some things that are quite easy to say yes to. For example, like, would you please sign for this package? Would you like to enter this free draw? Do you want 0% interest on your car? I mean, who's going to say no to any of those things? Yes is easy. But how about something a little deeper? Do you want to be enlightened? Do you want to be prosperous? Do you want to be empowered? Do you want to be inspiring? How about, do you want to be at peace? Because we're going to have to work to say yes to some of these things that if we want these, to say yes to these questions, there's going to be some things that come along with it that we may have a harder time saying yes to. According to Webster's dictionary, in case you wondered, yes means to affirm, to consent, to be in agreement with, the opposite of no, which means to deny or refuse or to disagree with. We all have a choice as to what we want our answer to be, don't we? We can look at life and say no, disagree with what's happening, resist it, fight it, or we can decide if we want to say yes to it. The truth is, the harder we push something away, the more we pull those circumstances to us. What we resist persists. You all know that old saying. Can anyone relate to this? There's a great story that I heard that really illustrates this. Do you remember when milkmen delivered bottles of milk? Now, I'm not saying that you're old enough that you remember this, although actually now that I think about it, I am. I remember when I was a little girl, the milkman coming along with the horse. And the horse actually knew the route just as well as the milkman. And when there were substitute milkmen, the horse knew where to stop. It was interesting. And do you remember those mornings when it was so cold out that the milk froze and the cream popped out the top like an ice cream cone? Oh my goodness. Interesting times then, eh? But this story took place not then, but more modern. It's about a milkman named Ben, and I'm going to tell the story as though it happened to me. So when Ben delivered the milk to my home that morning, he wasn't his usual sunny self. He was the epitome of gloom as he dropped off his milk from his basket. And it took slow, careful questioning to extract the story from him. With some embarrassment, he told me 2 customers had left town. One owed $10, that wasn't that much, but the other owed $79. and had left no forwarding address, and he was totally upset about it. He says, you know, what was really making him mad about it was that he figured he had he was just stupid for letting the bill get so large. He said, you know, she was a pretty woman with 6 kids and another on the way, and she was always saying, I'm going to pay you soon as my husband gets a new job, and I just believed her. What a fool I was. I thought I was doing a good thing, but I've learned my lesson. I've been had. I'm so sorry, Ben. I really didn't know what to say. And every day when he'd come, he was just getting madder and madder and madder. And I thought, you know, this isn't really doing him any good. And I just thought, what can I do to help this situation? And then I remembered my grandmother. And she used to say, when someone is taken from you, give it to them. And then you could never be cheated out of it. So the next time Ben delivered the milk, I told him to give the woman the $79. He says, well, give the woman the milk. Give the woman the milk. Make a present to the kids who need it. He says, I didn't even give my wife that kind of present. I said, well, Ben, just try it. I've done it several times and it works. Well, every time Ben came, we'd joke about it. I'd say, have you given the woman the milk yet? He'd say, no way. But every day he seemed to lighten up a bit more. And then one day it happened. He arrived with a big smile on his face. He says, I've done it. I gave her the milk as a present. It wasn't easy, but what did I have to lose? The milk was gone, wasn't it? I said, oh, that's so good, Ben, but you know, you have to make sure it's in your heart, not just your head, that you've given her the milk in your heart. Oh, yes, he says, I do. I feel really better. I don't feel as though I've been cheated anymore. I just feel that I'm giving the kids the milk for their cereal. I think Ben had learned to guess his way through that situation. You think it changed other aspects of his life too? Many of us shut ourselves off from the heaven in which we can live and move and have our being. We don't need to live in hell. That's a choice. But God can't bring that good into our experience when our heart and our mind are ungraciously and tightly closed to it. I mean, you can see, you don't get anything from a fist. You need to open to receive, to give and to receive. Because this isn't about forgiveness. Ben wasn't being told to forgive the woman. Oh, no. In fact, to do a loving act for her in his mind and to be grateful for her for the opportunity to experience saying yes. She didn't even know about it. When we express gratitude and love, it can change our lives entirely. It generates that energy that helps us to appreciate how good life is. It really is. And not only that, it awakens us to an awareness of the good that's everywhere, just waiting for us to discover it, present and working on our behalf. Do you remember the story in the Gospel of John about Jesus raising the dead, raising Lazarus from the dead? He was able to do that because of his attitude towards life, of saying yes to life. I'm going to tell you the story. So Jesus was in Judea, and he was teaching and preaching and healing and doing all this Jesus type stuff. And in the meantime, Lazarus, who was the brother of Mary and Martha, they lived in the village of Bethany, which was not where he was. And they sent a message to Jesus saying that Lazarus was sick and they think he's going to die. Well, Jesus looked at the people around him and he said, you know, I know this is for the greater good. So he stayed where he was for 2 more days. And then he started traveling towards Galilee, towards Bethany. And he was met. Martha heard that he was coming and she went to meet him. And she was some upset. And she said to him, Jesus, Lazarus died. And if you had been here, he wouldn't have died. And Jesus says, now, Mary, it's all happened for the greater good. Don't worry, everything is okay. And so he was still there. Martha went home and told Mary, and she came to where he was. And she said the same thing to him. You know, it would have been fine, but no, you had to stay where you were for 2 days. And she was crying and wailing, and everybody around her was crying and wailing. Jesus was also disturbed because he didn't realize, I don't know, maybe he did realize how much pain he would be giving Martha and Mary for no reason. And this is one of the shortest verses in the King James Bible. It says, Jesus wept. Have you heard that? But he said, just show me, where is he? Where is he? And so they went to the tomb. And Jesus said to the people there, roll away the stone. And Martha said, Jesus, he's been in there 4 days. It's going to be stench. There's going to be stinking coming from out of there. I don't really think you want to do that. He said, no, roll away the stone. And then he prayed to God. And he said, God, Father, he called him Father, I know that you hear me. Thank you for having heard me. I don't have to say this out loud because I know that you always hear me. But for the sake of the crowd here, I am going to say this so that they can believe that you have sent me to preach the good message of salvation. That we don't have to live in fear. That we know that we are always present. That you are everywhere present. And when he said this, in a loud voice, he cried and said, Lazarus, come out. And Lazarus came out, and he said, unbind him from his clothes, his dressings, and let him go. So Jesus realized he didn't need to say thank you out loud. His whole life and attitude said yes. He said it to be a role model for those who were there, to be of service to them, to show them how to transform their lives. Because the more we say yes, the more unshakable our faith becomes. The greater our inner peace, the bigger our capacity to love and fill our lives with joy. So, how do we do this? How do we do this? Well, I've got some ideas. I've got some suggestions. The first one is that we can give thanks where it looks like there isn't enough. Like Jesus did when he fed the 5,000 with 2 loaves and 5 fishes. You see anybody there saying yes? No. We can give thanks in advance like he did when he resurrected Lazarus. We can find something to give thanks for in every situation, no matter how difficult. Like what we're experiencing right now with the COVID pandemic. And don't be afraid to go off the deep end and really look for it and really express gratitude for it. It means that you're truly giving yourself to something. Jim and Nancy Rosemurgy, Unity Ministers, say that one of the world's difficulties is that people are lukewarm with their lives. They stay in the shallow end of the pool. I mean, that's okay for splashing about, but it's not for the serious swimmer. They say, consider that the deep end is where there's buoyancy. That's what ocean-going vessels need. And because they're out of place in the harbor being pushed about by tugs, they belong on the high seas. That's not to mean that we're meant for the high seas. If we're going to dive into the deep end. Say yes in a big way. Number 2 is we can keep a gratitude journal. Now, you've heard about this many times. Taking time at the end of the day to write down 5 good things that blessed you, that happened, that we're grateful for. But how about saying yes to things that don't look too great to begin with, but that once we say yes to them, we can see in a totally different way. So the really good exercise is to pick 5 of the awful things that happened and say yes to them. Another way is to use the rocking chair test. Imagine yourself as an old person nearing the end of your life. You're sitting on your porch and you're reminiscing about days gone by, about 2020. You remember, oh my gosh, remember 2020? And think about the attitude that you had towards what was going on right now. Ask yourself, if you had decided to say yes to it in a big way, how would that decision have changed the course of your life? Interesting question, eh? Another way is to say the words out loud. Thank you, God. Yes, God. Yes. Let's say them with me right now. Yes, God. Yes. Do you feel the energy? It just makes it a little different, doesn't it, when you say yes? Yes, God. Well, there's more to Ben's story, because 2 weeks later, he could hardly wait to tell me what happened. He ran up and he said, oh my goodness, wait till you hear what happened. I was driving on a different route for a milkman that was sick, and I heard this person yelling my name and running down the street. I could see them in my rearview mirror, and so I stopped the truck and I got out, and it was this lady. And she's holding $20, and she says, Ben, I got money for you. She says, oh, I am so sorry. I really have been meaning to pay you. And she explained that her husband had come home one night and announced that he'd found a cheaper apartment and they had to move right away. And he'd also started a night job, so he couldn't help her with the packing and the moving and the unpacking and everything. And in all the furor, because now she had the baby, she just totally forgot to leave a forwarding address. She said, but I've been saving, and here's $20 for you. That's all right, Ben said. It's been paid. What do you mean it's been paid? Who paid it? I did, Ben said with a smile. Well, she looked at him as if he was the angel Gabriel, and she started to cry, and he didn't know what to do. He put his arm around her, and he started to cry too, and they're both standing there crying, and he said, I didn't have the foggiest idea why I was crying. All I could think about was how wonderful it was that I could give her kids milk for their cereal. And you know what? I'm really glad you talked me into this. I said, did you take the $20? Heck no, he said. I gave her the milk as a present, didn't I? Yes, God. Yes, God. Let's take this into meditation now, as we listen to Melissa Philippe sing, As I Say a Tender Yes.
As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender.
Take a deep breath in. Breathe. Say yes to your breath. And you say yes. Just feel your shoulders relaxing. Feel your jaw unclenching. Just sink into the chair and let it support you. Yes. Say yes to peace. Say yes to empowerment. Feel that power in you. Giving you the strength to dive into the deep end, to say yes. Say yes to enlightenment. To knowing that there is more to life than what appears on the surface. To dig deeper. To allow love to show you the way. To transform your life. Say yes to inspiration. You have all the guidance and the wisdom already within you, and when you say yes to it, taking time to listen, you are inspired. Wonderful ideas for prosperity and healing come to you. Say yes to God, to spirit, to energy. Know that wherever you are, God is. God is in all, as you, through you. God always says yes to your thoughts, your prayers, because every thought is a prayer. What do you want God to say yes to? Choose carefully. Be aware. We can say yes to God. Our life is our message. What we are experiencing right now is the result of having said yes to in the past, whether we did it consciously or unconsciously. Let's make sure our yes is conscious. Take a moment in the silence to be aware of what you have been saying yes to recently. And we know we've been saying yes to it because here it is. That's what happens. So let's be aware of when we're saying yes and what we're saying yes to. Let's say it together right now as we come back to this time and this place. Yes. 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 We come back as we listen once more to Melissa Philippe.
As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me. My heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am free.
Namaste. And now let's listen to Viviane Martin one more time.
Thank you, Pat. Dr. Pat. Beautiful. Here I am on the edge, leaning into things known only by love. And I'm okay, I stay in faith. Here I am, living free, trusting in the only truth I've ever seen. And every day I feel love's grace, loving every single step I take into love's warm embrace. Take all that I am, I surrender into love. I surrender into love. Everything I am, I surrender into love. I surrender into love. I surrender into love. Here I am, and I see the best that is, and coming here to be. In every thought and word and deed, here I stand peacefully, believing in the courage to be free. A brighter way to make my day, loving every single yes I say into love's warm embrace. Take all that I am, I surrender into love. I surrender into love. Everything I am, I surrender into love. I surrender into love. surrender into love. I know I can't face tomorrow because of love. My fear is gone. Love guides my way, and I will follow, surrendering. I give my all. Take all that I am. I surrender into love. I surrender into love. Everything I am, I surrender into love. I surrender into love. Take all that I am. I surrender into love. I surrender into love. Everything, everything I am, I surrender into love. I surrender into love. I surrender into love. I surrender into love.